Welcome, fellows all, to Poetry from the Underground. And your host for this evening, Alan English, with his Scottish accent. Cheers, fella.
Right.
And today is Shakespeare's poetry, the Shakespeare who wrote his own plays, or so we are told. Okay, there will be a few little Shakespeare references and speeches dotted around this evening. We are in a theatre after all. So the next couple of hours, we're going to have a feast of spoken word delight from all across London, all to raise funds for Network Theatre, which, like a lot of places, has been hit very hard by the pandemic and the cost of living crisis. So do Parliament. Now, okay, we're going to kick off now with some fantastic open mic, with with a fantastic high-octane opening act. We have, will you please welcome the Office Girls Go Crazy!
Right, this is a poem about my friend Leslie from work. Okay, so she's a coronation chicken, a part-time royalist. She loves the extra day off work, popping prosecco and getting pissed, hanging out the bunting and waving tacky plastic flags, a barbecue with her neighbours, sipping tea in a souvenir mug. She will not sing God Save the Queen because she mumbles up the lines. And she cannot stand on ceremony after umpteen wines. She's just a confused coronation chicken. A brainwashed clusterfuck. And just like all the rest of us, she doesn't give a cluck.
I kept saying the same things twice. I kept saying the same things twice. So I went to my doctor to ask for advice. So I went to my doctor to ask for advice. I said, I'm having strange problems with my diction. I said, I'm having strange problems with my diction. So he wrote me out a repeat prescription. Here's another one. A lady went to her gynaecologist with tears welling in her eyes, complaining of problems with her ovaries, much to the doc's surprise. Don't you mean your ovaries? He said, trying to correct. No, it's definitely my ovaries, and I need to get them checked. She lay back on the bed. The doc parted her pubic hair. He rummaged around and said, you're right. It's been a cockatoo up there.
I first met my husband on a day trip to Leicester. He was working in Starbucks as a sexy barista. Our romance was instant. He was hot stuff in bed, and he always kept me up all night, and we couldn't wait to be wed. He used to get my jugs out, and I'd watch him pour his cream, and he'd whip me to a frenzy, then spoon me like a dream. But after only a few years, our frothy passions dissolved, and I became insipid and flat, and he was weak and bitter and cold. We no longer bothered to grind our beans. Our caffeine came out of the jar, and we dissolved into an average beverage couple with 2 kids, a dog and a car. And after another disappointing brew, I said, our marriage has run its course. We no longer blend together, and this coffee is grounds for divorce. So now I'm single, and I'm on my own, and I can be who I've always wanted to be. And although it can sometimes be a bit of a strain, I'll settle for a lovely cup of tea. Oh.
This one's called... This one's called How to Get Your Bird's Juices Flowing.
Chicken.
Her flesh was pale and clammy as she lay there cold and still. His greasy hands caressed her flesh. He had a certain skill. He rubbed her neck and stroked her breasts, concentrating hard and then rejoiced. All his hard work had soon paid off. Her thighs were nice and moist. Beads of sweat dripped on his face. Her juices started flowing. He licked his lips, rolled up his sleeves, for he knew where she was going. Her slip was wet, the seam was set, although his fingers they kept sticking. He bent down and pulled her thighs apart, and then he stuffed his chicken.
One for your something like. Come on, all right. This is another rant from me. So, as if I didn't have enough to worry about, and I'm permanently in a rage, I've just discovered the earth-shattering news. You can actually die from old age. Well, who knew? They say it finished off our Queen, and I thought it was something more sinister. And it was weird that she snuffed it right after meeting Liz Truss, that fuckwit Prime Minister. I like to believe she was really a lizard, an alien species from outer space. And she'd always be with us forever, with her jewels and her iconic face. And now I'm feeling very panicky, I'm unprepared, and I'm quite annoyed. Because I was always led to believe one should try old age to avoid. It creeps up on you without warning, an invisible silent killer. 1 minute you're dancing on the tables, the next you're in the mortuary chiller. So no point smoothing out your wrinkles and trying to make yourself look younger. Don't bother with diet and exercise. The Grim Reaper's got your number. The march of time is relentless, and that's the way it will always be. So if something else doesn't get me first, then old age will be the death of me.
Talking of old age, this one's called Ethel and Alan. Ethel and Alan had been wed 40 years. He'd always been a faithful bloke. The only problem in their long marriage was caused by him farting when he awoke. The noise always woke poor Ethel. She choked and gasped with watering eyes. He grinned and said it's a natural bodily function and very common in us old guys. Ethel shouted, Alan, it's not natural. So cross she would stomp and shout. If you don't stop farting, then one day soon you will fight your guts right out. One Easter morning she got up quite early to prepare the family feast. As she removed the turkey's innards, her hands were warm and greased. She laughed out loud as the thought occurred, how she could stop her husband's trumps. She put the turkey guts into a bowl and crept upstairs with the cold bristly lumps. He was sound asleep and snoring, so she pulled his pyjama bottoms back, emptied the turkey guts into the gap, slithering around by his huge hairy crack. A few hours later she heard a loud fart, followed by a blood-curdling scream. She had finally got her own back on him, although it was rather extreme. Half an hour later, in blood-stained pants, a look of horror on his face, Alan rushed into the kitchen, hanging his head in pure disgrace. What's the matter, she asked him. He said, honey, you were right. All those years you warned me, I didn't listen and just had a huge fright. You always said one day I'd fart my guts out. And today, Ethel, I think that you win. But by the grace of God and two fingers, I managed to get them all back in. Alright, this one's called Romantic Walk. For all you lovers out there. A couple out for a Sunday walk, hand in hand with lovers' talk. When she suddenly says, I need a pee. He is slightly shocked by her vulgarity. She disappears behind a hedge. Squatting down low, she aims for the edge. He gets turned on, reaches out the sigh, through the head and strokes her thigh. He slides his hand up and then recoiled. His lust for her is suddenly spoiled. When he finds himself gritting something long and hard, he is suddenly shocked and on his guard. He cries out Mary with a horrible suspicion. Please don't tell me you've gone and transitioned. Don't worry, she calls out, you've not been misled. I changed my mind, I'm having a shit instead.